So today we're going to talk about increasing your perceived value. Everybody believes that they have a good product. Most people probably do have a good product, something that at least adds passion or value to their lives, or they wouldn't be interested in it. So, how do I get my audience to understand the value of my product? Because if they don't perceive that it has any value, then they're certainly not interested in my product or my service.
Right. And I think you said one word that stuck out to me, and that was audience. And if for someone to understand what you're doing, what you're selling, and even the perceptual value of it, it has to be speaking to them on their medium. And I see that a lot of times when you look at other people's products or service, they get mad that this product is not, X, Y, and Z, and it doesn't fit this need. But a lot of that's because it may not be talking to them, or the other angle of that is that company is not doing a good job of talking to them. What I'm going to say first is you got to speak to the right audience. And that begins by understanding what your actual add value proposition is and where it's positioned. And so let's just touch on positioning. I like to summarize it as there's the value orientation, it works, and it fits my budget, right?
Yeah.
And then there's premium, pay more, get more. And then there's luxury, which is more about the experience and the scarcity and the exclusivity of it. Once you understand your medium and who your audience is and what those are, you work to those values. So, if you're in a premium product space, you're going to want to offer the most amount of value. Your crowd's going to understand that you're going to pay a little bit more money for it.
Why don't you give us an example of what those three tiers would be? So value, premium, and luxury.
Let's go the value as maybe Honda per se. Honda, they will build you a good product, and it will be well within your budget. You're not going to look at it and say, okay, this is the most exclusive of this, that, and the other, but it does the job. It gets me to point A, point B, and you know what? It fits my budget.
And I drove my Honda Odyssey for 207,000 miles.
Oh yeah, that's maximum value right there, right? And then I like to think of premium, and I think I like to use this example because there's kind of a misnomer between premium and luxury, because a lot of times, depending on who it is, they can perceive them as the same, right? So I want to use perhaps maybe an Escalade as a fantastic example of a premium product. That it has all the specs and quality of it are up there. There's a little bit of thought put into every process to it, but it's not the most expensive thing out there. You look at perhaps maybe a Ferrari or a Bentley, that's when you're talking about, okay, exclusivity. They don't make a ton of those cars, right? And they do that on purpose because in the luxury level, you want to be bought into the experience, and it's a complete emotional buy.
Right.
When you look at the positioning of these three segments we're talking about, value, a lot of times you'll see that out there, and you'll see a lot of the advertising speaking to the pure value of what's presented, right? And a lot of times there's high competition in those zones, so oftentimes you'll see a discount included in those. And oddly enough, a lot of our population is programmed around that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's how we shop and buy. And you'll see that within the value range a lot of times. And then you'll look in a premium range, they're really selling you on what you could be and everything that you're buying. So there is a lot of education when you start to look and delve into it. Going back to the car example, you look at a Cadillac brochure, it's like this thick, right? And it's even talking about the meaning of the colors and this, that, and the other,
exactly.
right? There's a lot of verbiage there, but it's because that's more of a transition from the value, and perhaps even in the future on your way to luxury. That premium is a very educational stage.
They're really wanting you to buy into their product, what it is, what it offers you, not just, hey, we'll get you out the door for $129 a month.
Absolutely, right. Once you get that education and then you're sold on it, you understand the value of what's presented to you. And then you look at the luxury brand. How often do you really see a Chanel or a Bentley or a Ferrari advertising on TV or anything like that in this day and age? They don't really need it because they have that brand presence that people understand and want. There is a want factor to that. So a lot of times how you'll see those advertised is literally the brand name, or it's a very picturesque, right? And going back to the brochure samples, we go from this thick in the premium to now this big, and it's picture. And then like one word, powerful, right?
Yeah, for sure. So first thing we need to do is understand who our audience is. There's nothing wrong with being a value brand or a premium brand or a luxury brand. It just depends on who you are. So once we've determined where our brand falls, what would be the next step after that?
I would invest heavily in establishing your relationship or credibility at each stage, regardless. I mean, if we go on Amazon, we're looking probably for a good deal, right? I can tell you, even at that, I still look for the reviews.
Got to be at least 4 stars. Yeah.
Yeah, right. You know, you're still looking for that credibility factor, especially with this digital age we're in, where we buy things over the internet. You know, we can't touch and feel it. So the next best thing we have is credibility and reviews. So we'll use those.
So we're trying to build our credibility by obviously being great at what we do and offering good customer service, and then asking people to, maybe leave us an online review, and even better than that, the word of mouth, hey man, I had an experience with this company and they're great, you should use them.
Yeah, and kind of delve into further, each of those stages operates differently, but at the end of the day, that is the common denominator between all those brands. So once you figure out your audience, building credibility is a standard across the board. Things that enhance credibility are things like customer service, high quality value, and so forth. And so, I know with us, that's like I've built our mission statement around that: uncompromising quality, continually innovating. That was built with the intent of establishing us as the pros and experts at what we do, and you can trust us for that.
I think most people would pay a little bit more even to know that they're with a company that cares about them, that's going to take care of it, that's going to do what they say that they're going to do.
Right.
So really, when we talk about building credibility, reliability goes right along with that, because it's not feasible to be a credible company if you're not actually reliable, if your customers don't love you, because then there is no credibility. So really, increasing my perceived value could be easily summarized with a couple of things. Number one, understanding who you are as a company or as a product, whether it's a value, whether it's a premium product, whether it's a luxury product. None of those are wrong, just knowing where you land in that. Then making sure that you have top-notch customer service, that you are building credibility because you're a reliable company, because you care about your customers. And then asking those customers. I think most people who have a good experience have no problem saying, yeah, I'd love to tell my friend who is also looking for your service about you, because if they had a good experience, they want to pass that along to somebody else.
And when you're thinking about getting a review from, a customer or a happy person, understand that might be just a little bit of work. But think of that as a marketing dollar. Every review you get, you can watch your sales go up one bit at a time, or at least, the experience of you working with your clients.
So as we talk about increasing your perceived value, I hope that that's helpful to you guys. I know that that's something that a lot of companies say, man, we have a good product. We need the world to understand what we have, that we're good at it. Hope that's helpful to you. And tune in next time, and we'll have some more hopefully helpful information for you.